Welcome to the sixth and final walk of Old Galt Cambridge. If you'd like to start with the first episode, you can click on the card. Park at the ID Exchange parking lot at 1 North Square, walk on Grand Avenue, past Queen Square and the Bread Factory building to the Galt Horticultural Society garden. This is Ferguson's Cottage, built by farmer and blacksmith William Ferguson in 1837 and is one of the oldest stone cottages in the city of Cambridge. It's hard to believe that this was all once farmland. It's now the home to the Galt Horticultural Society that maintains these charming garden beds. The Galt Horticultural Society is always delighted to have new members join, with monthly meetings to listen to fascinating speakers, workshops, challenges, a spring and fall plant sale, and exchanges and more. Following the left-hand path in front of Ferguson's Cottage, there's a second path behind the building, riverside. This is Absalom's Walk. Absalom's Walk will take you beside the river where you'll see the art of the sculpture garden. The first piece, being Untitled by Peter Bauer, was made in 1980 and installed in 2004. It's welded steel of abstract forms. This piece was donated by the artist. The next piece of art is Namerung, Twilight, by Andreas Guerre, made in 1984, installed in 2000. Also welded steel, Swiss artist Guerre used the spiraling form to contemplate the space between twilight, dusk, and dawn. Originally, the piece featured lights in the recesses, and one day this will be restored. From here you can see across the river to the flow of water that's coming out of the other side. This is Founder's Point. This is where the original mill of Shades Mills was. The water is from the Mill River that's now being diverted under the city from Main Street onward. This is also a great place to have picnics, as tables are available. At the further end of this walk, there are more pieces including Easy to Assemble by John Marriott, 2005, installed in 2006. This sculpture represents an abstract garden shed. It makes us think of it in a way that's not always seen. Originally commissioned by the Toronto Sculpture Garden, this piece was donated by the Toronto-based artist. Other pieces of work are displayed on a rotating basis. If you continue on Absalom's Walk to the end, you'll come out again on Grand Avenue, and you'll see to your right McDougall's Cottage. McDougall's Cottage was built in 1858, and for 100 years it was only lived in by two families, the McDougalls and the Bairds. This granite and limestone cottage is now designated and is a museum. It features exhibits, special events, tours, and more, such as their ever-popular tartan tea. Check their event calendar for events and programs. On the corner of Grand Avenue and Fraser Street is a new venue in an old building, Tapestry Hall. From weddings to corporate events, they're able to accommodate guests from 25 to 1,000. The artwork inside is by Philip Beasley, an unbelievably stunning art piece called Meander that looks like an explosion of glass that hangs from the ceiling over the foyer and part of the main 650-seating hall. This building was first the Dumfries Foundry until it was purchased by the Goldie McCulloch Company that manufactured various engines, safes, vaults, and etc. And during the First World War, the facility was used as a munitions factory. The factory was sold to Babcock & Wilcock in 1923. Why was it called Southworks? Because they built a large plant in the north end of Galt, so naturally this was called Southworks. While this area is being redeveloped into the Gaslight District, a residential, commercial, and entertainment hub. Hamilton Family Theatre was formerly known as Dumfield's Theatre. It opened in 2013 and has seating for 500. It's part of the Drayton Entertainment Group. This is a great entertainment venue, and if you're coming for a weekend, a wonderful way to spend either your afternoon at a matinee or let it be your evening's entertainment. Link below is their website for show and ticket information. Back to Absalom's Walk, go to the pedestrian bridge over the Grand River that's called Craig's Crossing, named after our former mayor, Doug Craig. This bridge was built in 2017 to 2018, where the old rail bridge that had been built in 1912 was. That bridge was used to service the industrial area, including Southworks location. This bridge has become a favorite for locals and visitors as it connects the two sides of the river and makes for a lovely stroll. Standing on the bridge, you have a beautiful view. Walking onto Water Street, you'll see the building at 47 Water Street was formerly First Delta Baptist Church. It was deconsecrated in 1980, but the exterior of the building is protected by the Ontario Heritage Act. the First Baptist congregation organized in Galt in 1851, and it was from that congregation that this church was built in 1887. It's of a Romanesque and Italianate style with interesting brickwork. The property is now used by the Cambridge Community Players. In 1982, the City of Cambridge purchased and renovated Water Street Baptist Church and created the Cambridge Arts Theatre. The Galt Little Theatre, now Cambridge Community Players, was given a permanent residence there. I've linked in the description for showtimes and how to buy tickets. Back across the street, Galt Woolen Mills, 36 Water Street South, is the oldest surviving textile mill in the area. Built in 1843, the owner, Isaac Sowers, had the mill workers work, on average, 64 hours a week. The Warnocks purchased it in 1881 to house the original Galt Knitting Company. The building in the 20th century fell into despair and at one point was painted purple and called the Purple Pool Hall. It underwent a massive restoration and now is a stunningly beautiful multi-purpose building. Across the street was the former Galt Knitting Company factory that was renamed Tiger Brand Knitting Company in 1954 after a line of men's underwear they had been producing with the Tiger trademark. The company manufactured a variety of knitted garments, mostly fashion t-shirts, under the Tiger brand. The factory was repurposed in 2008 and now contains apartments. The Imperial Block was built in 1887. It's a Romanesque revival building with interesting brickwork. It originally was the one-stop shop as it had a bank, tobacconist, grocery store, hairdresser, dentist, dressmaker, and a music store. At 12 Water Street South, this stunning building built in 1885 was at one point bought for $12,000 by the city and was going to be torn down to provide parking for 23 cars. This amazing Romanesque revival-style post office, designed by Thomas Fuller, the Chief Dominion architect, who also designed the first of the Parliament buildings in Ottawa. With the new post office being built in 1936, it was no longer needed. For several years it was a pub. Now it's the old post office, Idea Exchange Makerspace, with an amazing array of equipment that you can use, from laser cutters to knitting machines. The equipment terms of use explain what you need to know to be able to use the equipment. It's been suggested that there's a ghost in this building, the postmaster of the turn of the century, William Turnbull, who's been seen turning the clock mechanism in the clock tower. On the outside of the building, the old post office has a digital light projection show after dark. In October 2021, from Thursday to Sunday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the half-hour and hour, there is a light show projected against the building. Check the information below for the show times during the other times of the year. We are going to zip up Main Street through the part of the tour that we did in episode 2 to get back to the corner of Ainslie and Main, and from there we will be continuing up Main Street. Thyssen of Galt is the fourth legacy store we have in the core, a business that's been here for over 50 years. A quality footwear store that was started in 1971. With Matthias and Jacqueline Thyssen, it's now run by the second generation, Monica and Fred Thyssen. And they know their stuff, inside and out. Everything about footwear they sell, from manufacture to fit. They have 40 plus brands including Blundstone, On Running, Riker Remonte, Johnston & Murphy, and so much more. They include European brands known for their comfort and quality. Footwear made from buttery soft leathers to vegan materials. Plus, accessories and more. Shoes for adults and children. Thyssen of Galt will happily help you find the best quality shoe with the proper fit. Across the street is Cornerstone Interiors. This is their flagship store with 50,000 square feet stacked with amazing inventory, from live edge tables to French armoires. A huge range of styles of quality furniture, from fun to futuristic. Many items that are here are so unique that you won't find them anywhere else. At the top of the street, at the corner, is Horticultural and the old Royal Hotel building. The Royal Hotel was built in 1888, was expropriated by the city in 2005. 2 years later, it was bought by a developer who took the time and effort to bring it back to its former beauty. It's a great place to have a coffee, a cake, or a meal. There used to be another hotel across the street from them called the Iroquois, which sadly burnt down in 1975. Built in 1894, it was the most luxurious and up-to-date hotel in the region. It was also the place that Niagara Falls tightrope walker Charles Cromwell would string his rope between here and the Royal Hotel in the 1890s and dazzle the crowd below with his tightrope walking ability. Niagara Falls tightrope walkers dazzled populations in the 1800s, especially after Frenchman Charles Blondin thrilled the crowds in 1859. There is money and fame to be made in tightrope walking, so is it surprising that Galt had not one Niagara Falls tightrope walker living here? We had three: Charles Cromwell, his son Frank Cromwell, and Andrew Jenkins. Andrew Jenkins, known as Professor Andrew Jenkins, crossed the Niagara Gorge at the Whirlpool Rapids north of the railway suspension bridge on August 25, 1869, using a bicycle-type contraption. He had instant fame, and later, in one stunt, he took a stove to the center of the rope and made pancakes which he threw to the people in the canoes far below. Eventually, he retired from tightrope walking and opened a photography studio in Galt. If you started this tour with me in the beginning, then 15 Wellington, where you parked your car, is just down the road. I'm going to be showing you more of Cambridge next week, but I'm going to be taking a break from the downtown core and showing you one of our more beautiful outdoor spaces. Join me.